Programme. We are here recording a special programme on a beautiful, wild and windswept Thursday night, going out now live on Monday morning, 11 to 12, here on Deise today on WLR. We are in the fabulous Coach House Cafe. We are celebrating in conversation with Local Enterprise Office, celebrating local enterprise and all good things that are happening in Waterford City, County and the environs for the last 12 months. We've got an esteemed panellist here this evening. Hello, folks. You're looking terrified there. So, interrogation first. Are we talking politics? Are we talking Brexit? Where will we start? No, not at all. Now I'm going to introduce Mailo Power from Monkey Cup. Hello, Mailo.
Hi, Damien.
We've got Curran from Just Create.
Hello.
We've got Sinead Queally from Virtual Vet.
Hello.
Conor Walsh from Encon.
How you doing?
And Richie Walsh, Head of Enterprise. For the purpose of our listeners, can you just introduce yourselves? Give me a little bit about your background. Mailo, I'm going to start with yourself, please.
Hi, I'm Mailo Power and I'm Managing Director of Monkey Reusable Products and founder of Monkey Cups, which began as, I suppose, a solution to an issue that I had. And as I suppose its journey has been an incredible year.
How long? When did you start?
The initial drawing was in March of 2018. And then we launched a showcase in January of this year with the prototype. And then we went into full production in March.
How's it been?
It's been a roller coaster year. It's been full of challenges. I was very naive when it came to manufacturing. But thanks to the expertise of Imisol in Tremor and Marley Products in the industrial estate. So their expertise, I suppose, has been very much part of the journey. And the expertise we have in Waterford is fantastic.
And we want to know a little bit about the ins and outs of the mistakes you've made and advice you'd have for our audience. We have an audience around 30, 40 people here this evening, all esteemed business people as well, wanting to share their knowledge, and we'll go around to them in a few minutes. Curran, Just Create.
Hello.
How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you?
Tell us a little bit about your business, please.
So Just Create, I'm an artist, and what I do is I do a type of photographic printing called dye transfer. And dye transfer was the first method of making a full colour photographic print. And it's the same process by which Technicolor made their early Inglorious Technicolor movies. And so what I do is I isolate key frames from Technicolor movies and then print them as photographic prints and then present them in like a contemporary art context.
When did you start?
I suppose I've been working in photography most of my life, but kind of went into the local enterprise office and started putting a proper business structure around my offering in 2016, and then was kind of good to go really the start of 2018. Yeah, so.
Okay, we'll talk about the highs and lows, the ups and downs as well in a second. First thing I'm going to go to Sinead Queally. Hello, Sinead. Virtual Vet. Tell us, what is Virtual Vet, please?
Virtual Vet is a free service to farmers where we collect their animal remedy usage, their animal drug usage on farm, and we digitise it and make it available to, we'll say, meat processors, board BIA, vets to actually analyse, and takes the pain of compliance and regulations away from the farmers and makes the information available and usable for the rest of the value chain, the agri-food value chain.
Again, when did you start?
2016 was the start of the business. So we're in year 4, which has been a big achievement, a big milestone. But the idea was kind of around fermenting for a few years before that.
Sounds like it's been a labour of love.
Yeah.
Conor Walsh, how's it going?
Good, and yourself?
Encon, Conor, I've spoken to you. I've been at the LEO Awards. Met you there at that. You're an award winner yourself. Tell us about Encon.
Encon was founded in 2013 by myself and Robert Keown. We both qualified as carpenters in 2009, and we entered into the energy efficiency space, I suppose, when it just started to kick off. Construction itself had fallen flat on its face by then. And I suppose over the last 10 years now, we've evolved ourselves now as a go-to company now for retrofitting and energy efficiency in both new build and domestic and commercial construction. We spent a lot of the last number of years making old buildings energy efficient, and we're finding that our methods of construction now are becoming a kind of a foothold within the new build construction space, which is quite good for us. And we've also have a fixing and development now with a patent pending, and we've WIT on board as a business partner in the company. And we're hoping to roll out it's a precast housing concept in both Ireland and the UK in the next 12 to 24 months.
Richie Walsh, Head of Enterprise at the Local Enterprise Office. How's it going? thanks very much for joining us tonight, and thanks for hosting this tonight and being here and celebrating everything that's good in Waterford business. Tell us, the local enterprise office, what do ye do?
Well, I suppose, in a way, just listening to the lads there and speaking specifically of these, we're probably, to simplify it, we're almost the mothers and fathers of their ideas. And we think that on occasion we're the midwives, but you know what? We end up being the babysitters. So it's almost like building a family situation around entrepreneurial stuff in Waterford, in early startup situations in business and in business expansion, and creating the environment for that to happen, and indeed providing significant supports and services to people with great ideas, something like the lads here. And let's be honest, everyone that that develops a business in Waterford genuinely sees a somethingness in the marketplace to justify it, and sometimes it can be a struggle, like one or two of the ones reported here, but other times, like with a bit of support, with a genuine sense of partnership from what I call the enterprise support community, those ideas can turn into really top quality job providing things.
What's your background yourself?
My background is primarily local authority, but primarily again there from a planning and economic development perspective. From an awful lot of my life has been built around community activity, involvement, and development. So the two of them are totally connected. The simple truth of it is, an enterprise development in Waterford is no good if it doesn't create jobs. Jobs create families, families create communities, communities make Waterford. So it's that connection of what people endeavour to do, those wonderful ideas, but ultimately the effect they have is way bigger and way more than that. One
of the themes we're going to explore is the idea of government or government bodies helping businesses, and likewise you learning from them as well. Have you found it difficult to go from, I suppose, a centralised government type of role into working and developing businesses?
Well, I suppose the cost of business at times, and a lot of people would say it is the regulatory environment, almost the things that you can't do, whether the controlling things that planning puts in place, or the revenue commissioners, or whatever else it might be, Irish Water now. So in a way that is, an anti-business environment, a lot of people feel at times, but like at the end of the day, it's developing capability within the broader nation and community. So it has to be there. Our job, to a certain extent, is to sort of make the journey softer at times, and to sort of, to understand that environment over there, the regulatory and enforcement environment is there, and to understand the passages through that and to come out the other side with success. So I'd like to think that the experiences that I'd have had and some of my other staff would have had in those environments are actually now helpful when we meet business people.
Because you're learning as well from the experiences
absolutely.
You have.
This is a mutual learning thing, and always has been, and always I would like to think it will be. We will never try and pretend that we have a set of expertises that nobody else has or anything like that. It is the mutual learning journey, and it is a journey, and sometimes, my God, a journey can be so hard. But everybody will tell you that ultimately there is a destination there, and sometimes the destination isn't where you thought you were going to be. It ends up being a different place, but the journey is the journey.
And we'll ask our panellists now in a second as well about the idea of that journey and advice that you would have going back to LEO and anybody else starting off in business, because there will be people listening to this morning looking at potentially setting up a business in 2020, looking at the pitfalls, looking at where to get the advice and stuff like that, and the mentoring services that different organisations provide, which is so important. So what we're going to do is, just in terms of the general business climate at present, Mailo, the news is coming out this week about the North Quays, for example, being developed. We did say at the start of the year, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. People have to get on with business anyway. That was the general attitude, and let it happen. But it looks like it is going to happen now. Are we looking at Waterford and the cluster that is Waterford around the southeast as something that's just about to take off?
Well, I think in many ways, Damien, the expertise that exists in Waterford, we often talk about Waterford from a tourism perspective as being a best-kept secret. But in many ways, the expertise that we actually have in Waterford on a whole range of between pharmaceuticals, between manufacturing, and even from an innovation point of view. It's absolutely, I suppose, it's many ways it's untapped, but it's starting to be recognisable. And in many ways, if you take, for example, monkey cups, when we actually developed the tooling with Imasol, and then we began the journey with the injection moulding in China, and I wasn't happy with the actual, I suppose, the time frame it was taken. So I made the decision to move a 300 kg of steel back to Waterford. And we actually do the injection moulding in Waterford with Marley. And I was just speaking to Conor early, and Conor is also looking at injection moulding. So in many ways, telling our story actually encourages others to actually look to Waterford for expertise.
And as any good journalist would know, when you say something, I have to ask you something else about that, because you've tweaked my interest now. How did you move 300 kg, is that what you said, of steel? How did you move it? Let's ship it, literally?
DHL. Yeah.
And the cost associated with that, you factor that into everything?
Well, I didn't factor it in, but it was, in many ways, it's always a shock when you're moving 300 kg of steel. But it was a decision we made. One of I suppose one of the courses we went on with Leo was a business management development program with Blaise Brosnan, and it was a 15-week program, and it taught me to think strategically. And it was kind of short-term pain for long-term gain, because being able to manufacture in Waterford means that you're actually there on site, and you can actually provide a service, I suppose, faster, and also if there's issues, you can overcome them faster.
Okay, and as a private company in the private sector that doesn't get any government money, we have to go to a quick little ad break now. A quick note there to everybody in RTE and public service and all that sort of stuff. Seriously, it's very, very important, the idea of businesses supporting businesses, and the people that support WLR all the way through, and also WLR then giving back as well, is vital. So we're back in a second, and Conor, I'm going to ask you all about LED lighting, okay? Welcome back to the marvellous Coach House Coffee in Kilmacthomas. We are here on a Thursday night, all wrapped up nice and snug and cosy, around 50 people here at a special local enterprise office evening, celebrating all that's good in Waterford business. I see Brian and Susie Walsh there from the fabulous... they have a little bit of an old, I suppose, production company there. So I'll be down to you in a second to talk to you. John Hayes is there. There's a lot of other people here today. Now, I'm going to talk first with Virtual Vet. Tell us, please, now, if you wouldn't mind, Sinead, where have you made good decisions, and where would you change things?
Oh gosh, something nice and easy. How long have you got? The good decision was to start, and it doesn't always feel like that. But looking at it now, definitely, I'm delighted I started. And you were talking about Waterford area. It was prompted by I did the MBA in WIT, and it actually gave the confidence to go, actually, you can do this. So that was a good decision. Then there have been several other less good decisions. But you learn from every single one of the less good decisions. Another great decision was actually going to talk to Jackie in Leo. And from there, having somebody that you could pick up the phone to or email when something actually, went wrong. And they helped me cut out a couple of bad decisions. But, Can
you give us an example? And if anybody here's on the programme, Leo, that is the local enterprise office. Give me a practical example, if you can, about a decision that you went, I shouldn't really have done that. We made an app. We started out and we designed an app to help farmers to very, very simple. It opened on the camera functionality. They took a picture of a bottle of medicine and it immediately sent it to us. Waste of time and money, because psychologically you're dealing with very, very busy people, and the concept of them having to open up another app just didn't work. So that was thousands that I shouldn't have spent. How much did it cost you to develop that app?
It would have been about 10,000, I suppose, overall. And in terms of, there was a lot of research that went into it, and the outsourcing of the development and getting it connected to the platform and all of that. But yet we learned a huge amount from it, because in the last 4 years, the number of people that said, well, why don't you have an app? Well, we had, and it was a waste of time and money. So it was really, really important to have it, to have learned not to have it. So that was definitely, if I was back again, I wouldn't have done it. But at the same time, it's proven useful to have made that mistake and be able to point to it.
I'm going to come to Jean now in a second. Were you able to subsume that loss, that cost into your business and just keep going, or was it something that you went, this could drag me under?
Similar to Mailo, you just have to get on with the costs. You just have to get on with it. No single thing will drag you under, I think. There will be a straw maybe that will break cameras, but no single thing is going to drag you under, I think.
Jean, would you agree with that?
It's a series of knockdowns and getting up again and just plugging away every single day, just taking another step forward and just really committing. And that's it. Once you've committed and you're in a business and you're running a business, you just keep going. But I think it's very, very important to have a vision for where you want to go, so you're able to plan out your steps. And I think it's very important to think strategically when you're planning out your steps. And the more experienced you become, the better you are at avoiding, I suppose, the obstacles in the way. Conor
Walsh, Encon, building company, and all sorts of different things in between. Business plans. Did you do a business plan?
Yeah, I've definitely done a few over the years, all right, yeah.
Okay. Tell us what is entailed in a business plan. It sounds so simple. Okay, there's a plan for your business. But for people that don't know, what sort of in-depth analysis has to go into a business plan to present to a financier, to talk to Leo that help you? What are we talking about?
I suppose there's different types of business plans, and it's a target audience. So, if you're bringing it to a financer, he doesn't care where you come from, or she doesn't care where you've come from or where you're going. They just want to see numbers. They want to know that the numbers are real, and then, you're not making them up. And I suppose we've done a business plan for the iBuy this year. That was, quite an in-depth business plan. And then as we went further on to the regionals and internationals, it changed as we moved along the process.
Okay, so when you say in-depth, are we talking 100 pages? Are we talking 50 pages?
Well, we were told not to do it any more than 35 pages. And then I found out the girl who actually won it done 150 pages. So.
I see some people laughing in the audience there. Mailo, does every business starting off need a business plan? Can you start without one? There's a very simple question.
Well, I actually started without one, and simply because it was an idea that I had. When I actually went and spoke to Jackie in Leo, I actually had drawings and an idea. I had a vision of where I wanted to go, but I actually, when she said to me, well, how can we help? I said, well, I've never actually been inside a Leo office before, so I actually don't know. So then Jackie thought the first step then would be a feasibility study. And then a part of the feasibility study was actually to find out, was there a need for the product, and also a roadmap for the I suppose the product. We ended up with, at the end of the feasibility study, with an actual product that we actually launched at Showcase. But
this was Monkey Cup?
Yep.
So at that stage the product was completely made?
At Showcase, yes. But it actually wasn't an actual working, 100% working. The lids weren't watertight, which is very important for a coffee cup. And that's so, but it was just a prototype model. And we had just 3 days before Showcase, we actually we received the first 50, and that's all we had at Showcase. And in many ways, we had a plan B in case they didn't arrive on time. So I think in business, you always need a plan B.
Did you think it was different? Did you find it different from other experiences, the fact that you were actually manufacturing something?
Oh, 100%. One of the things that we learned with Leo was we had mentoring, you mentioned earlier, and we had mentoring in advance of Showcase. And I can't stress enough how valuable that was, because it actually taught us to actually put ourselves in the shoes of the buyers. So at Showcase, we actually hit the ground running, because when buyers came to us, we knew what the questions they would ask, and we were prepared. And we were very straight up. We said it was a prototype, and we told them the time frame it would take before we could deliver, and they still came on board. In many ways, they bought not only the product, but they bought the story and the ethos behind that and the vision that we had. So in many ways, you can launch without a product, without a business plan, but very, very fast you actually have to come up to speed with the business plan. And in many ways, the vision came first with us, and then the business plan.
Richie Walsh, Head of Enterprise at Local Enterprise Office here in Waterford. What do you think of hearing the stories being recapped in terms of business plans?
Well, first and foremost, I'd go back to Mailo there and absolutely agree with what you said. You know, the idea of a business plan at the beginning, in my mind, is immaterial. The idea of the vision is absolute. Because if you, for your business and for your idea and what you want to do, don't have some kind of a dream for what you want it to be, then you can do all the business plans in the world, but you know what, they're not what to quit. And again, there's a quotation from somebody that once said, like, a business plan is actually worth very little, but the process of planning in business is irreplaceable. So it is that visioning, that searching into yourself, and then it kind of came up here again with a number of them. That idea of engaging with people, engaging with agencies, but also with other businesses, developing partnerships, developing trusts and friendships and initial customers and that type of thing. So it's actually about human engagement with your idea, proving that the concept actually works in the marketplace. So you're going to have to do maybe some experimentation and investigation and make mistakes. But at the end of the day, it is that process of getting there that is absolutely invaluable.
And we are going to talk about that next. We're going to talk about, I suppose, the internal passion that one has and taking it out and bringing it into reality and relating to staff as well and fellow colleagues. So we're here in the Coach House Cafe in Kilmacthomas. We're having a year in review with some of Waterford's most inspirational entrepreneurs, focusing on celebrating, listening to their stories, passion and vision and their journey tonight. We're going to be talking next about staff and making the business, I suppose, a reality. Welcome back. I've got my Santa socks on. I planned very well for tonight. Santa socks with a dark suit doesn't really work, but trying to be cool doesn't really happen either, doesn't it not? No?
Far from cool now.
Far from cool, Conor. You're dead right. Never, never, never. We are here in the Coach House Cafe. Mailo Power, Monkey Cup, Jean Curran, Just Create, Sinead Queally, Virtual Vet, Conor Walsh, Encon, Richie Walsh, Head of Enterprise. 40 people here in the audience to join in, and we're going to go to you in a few minutes to talk about different things. John Hayes, I'll be talking to you about the best type of wood to work with, okay? Is that all right? Sounds good. What'd you say, Richie? A Hurley. Do you make Hurleys, John? Oh, you made a few. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, let's start on my left here with Conor Walsh. Conor, working with staff and having this vision, okay, we've dealt with the business plan aspect of things and the strategy starting off. You're now at a stage where you want to actually make the dream a reality, and that means bringing people with you on the journey.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
I suppose I've had a lot of staff over the years. My first business, we had up to 25 guys working for us for the first few years. Then we whittled it down for a while, and we kind of, I suppose, re-energised, got back into the market again, and we're 15 with us now. Was
it tough laying off staff?
It's always difficult leaving people go. It's not an enjoyable job unless they deserve it. Which is the truth of it. If they deserve it, they deserve it. But
And is it an enjoyable job if they do deserve it? Is it?
Well, it makes it a lot easier, all right?
Does it? Seriously, how do you brace yourself? Because for somebody that's a business owner and is getting into that and has to go and literally say, I'm sorry, I have to let you go.
Yeah, for instance, we had a rough patch there recently. We were geared up for a lot of these government contracts, and with this issue with the overrun in the Children's Hospital in Dublin, it caused a big stir in our industry. And while they were promoting retrofitting in a big way, they had to get money out of somewhere. So in August of this year, they put a pen through a couple of projects to the value of €500 million. And they took a lot of money out of construction projects and water projects, and retrofitting was one of them. And we had actually turned down private contracts because we were expecting these government contracts to kick off. And we didn't want to start failing people on both sides of the fence, both domestic and government contracts. So in August came, they cancelled the grant, and they told people the grant wasn't going ahead. And we literally went from, having 15 lads, we went back down to 9. And we had no choice but to do it, but it was unfortunate. We lost one or two along the way. I got some of the team back, but it was a difficult one because it's very hard to find good staff, and when you do find them, you want to hold on to them.
Sinead Queally, virtual vet. This idea of knowing your limitations, it's maybe as important as many different aspects of business. They talk about it at the basic levels with coaching sports. Know what you can do. Don't try and do too much too soon. You can learn as you go. Tell us about that process.
Yeah, definitely. I've always worked in teams and with teams, and I actually coach rugby as well, and from minis, and then at the moment the youth girls section in Water Park. So you're absolutely right. You have to. There are times in business and everything, you have to step back. You can't do everything. You have to have people that you trust, and you have to give them enough guidance that to be fair to them, that they actually will be able to do what you expect them to do. And Mailo's right about communication. It's not your staff's problem if they're not doing it right. You haven't communicated it properly, because otherwise how are they supposed to know what to do? Like Conor, we had at the end of this year as well, unfortunately had to let a couple of people go, and it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely, because it's not what you go into business for. You don't go into business for that. But yeah, knowing what the things, like I needed software, and I have an amazing software engineer. And she's fantastic. I am not a software engineer. I have to trust her, but again, it's sitting down and talking all the time and trying to understand and not being afraid to ask questions. So when you don't understand something, ask the stupid questions and force people to explain things to you, and then you can both actually understand it.
Do you micromanage?
I don't know. It's such a small company, and it's and in a startup, everybody has to do everything anyway. So I won't call it.
It's an unfair question.
What's that, Conor?
It's an unfair question. We all micromanage it.
We all micromanage.
In the early days.
You're right. Yeah,
you have to.
You have, because it's so small. You can't avoid knowing everybody's work, and they also know your work. So you could accuse them of micromanaging me.
You see, okay, Jean, I'm going to ask you this again. It's a different type of business, but when I ask somebody, do they micromanage, straight away somebody might go on the defensive to say, oh, no, I don't. There's nothing wrong with micromanaging. It's how it's done.
Yeah. I've kind of been thrown into the deep end a bit with this because I work very closely with my partner, Shane Whelan, and the printing process, how I make the photographic prints, is really laborious. And so I kind of lock myself away in the dark room, and it's head down. I'm about to start working on a new body of work in January, and so you see me now, you might not see me for another 6 to 8 months. So at the moment I've got a gallery, there's a show on in LA, so that gallery has to be dealt with. There's a gallery in New York and a gallery in London. Shane now, I've just leave him take care of all of that. Also he's, small little things, is sending emails and responding to things that come into during the day can take me away from what I'm doing, and I need to be able to concentrate on what I'm doing. So it took me a long time to learn to let go, and to that would help me. But I do now. I'm after improving.
I'm going to talk to Susie Butler-Walsh for a second, Highlight Television. One of the reasons I'm going to talk to Susie is, and we've got the storm blowing around us here, Susie and Brian go around, they cover an awful lot of positive stories for Nationwide and for news on RTE, particularly for Nationwide. You've seen so much stuff around the country, all positive things. What you're hearing here in terms of the enterprise and the buzz and the passion that these people are bringing, what do you think?
Well, first of all, we are a small business. There are two of us in this business. So we're an independent production company. Yes, our main contractor is RTE. But we are these people. We are what Mailo and what all of the lads are, a very small business. And, you know, there are times when we need the support and when we have the very same problems as these lads and the highs and the lows of running a small business. But you're dead right. In our day job, if you like, of working for RTE Nationwide, we see that these people all across the country, not only in Waterford, but everywhere, every small town, every village, every city, everywhere, if there aren't the small businesses, there aren't communities, there aren't, people thriving, there aren't, shops to go in and buy things. If you don't have a small shop owner at the end of the street, in a small town or a village, well, where do you get? So for example, a place like Ballyhale, we did a story on Billy's Tea Rooms. That was a street that had 5 pubs, a garage, the Garda station, the post office, all closed within 12 months until the tea rooms open. Simple idea, but now somebody can go down the road and get a carton of milk. A small business, a small enterprise that started. So yes, these small businesses, ourselves included, are the heart and soul of the country, not just Waterford City. And it's people who are brave enough to go out and do it, who take the chance, who make the mistakes, and who achieve what most of us in this room have tried to achieve over the years. That's what keeps the pulse ticking in the country.
Brian?
I agree with everything Susie said.
You would say that. Well, she'd kill you if you didn't.
I have to say that. I know. One of the things that early on you asked the question about passion, and above all else, and Richie alluded to it as well, is that you can do your business plans and all the rest, but it's the passion is one of the things. When we go around and we come out sometimes, and it's very rare somebody in a business you say, that's not going to work. There's just no passion there. And in 95% of the time, when we come out, we say, the passion is there. They still might fail, but when you have the passion, above all else, you have the makings of something there,
Any advice you give for people involved in small and medium enterprise, local enterprise?
I suppose, again, is to have passion, but the other thing as well, I'd say all of the 4 people sitting up there and anybody here tonight, it's a 24/7. Like we sometimes we kill each other. We talk all the time, about lots of things, but it's the business. We're only talking. There's some of the lads up there. We're kind of looking over each other and saying, God, they make a great story. So we're constantly going around saying, "Oh, that's a great story. That's a great shot." It's so we give probably, and not proud to say this, but probably 24/7. We are working or thinking about work, and that's something I think that anybody starting out in business, you don't go out home at 5 o'clock on a Friday and say, "That's great now, another week over." It is 7 days a week.
I see this man nodding here. How's it going?
Yeah,
What's your name?
Mark Ogilvie from Parola Payroll.
Mark, what have you think you've heard so far?
I was just reflecting on some stats from government, and there's something like 250,000 employers in Ireland, and over 125 of them, 150 of them, are less than 5 employees. So it's a country of small businesses, and that doesn't take into account sole traders as well. So Ireland is founded on the effort and the dedication and the persistence that small business owners put out.
Does it impress you?
Oh, definitely. Like we're one of these ourselves. We're a startup company and putting in 24 hours a day. But it's good to have this sort of guidance and something to look up to of people who, people are a few years ahead of us in the lifeline of it and are actually achieving as well. So that's great.
And how important is it to listen and learn from other people's stories?
You listen to stories and take away what you want to hear. Because some stories are bad stories, some stories are great stories. Some of them apply to you, some of them don't. So sift through them, take what's valuable to you and use that.
Listen to everybody, but make up your own mind at the end of the day.
Yep.
It's like if you're going to break off an engagement.
Haven't done that, so I'll leave that to you.
So we're here doing a special panel discussion, the year in review. We are here in the fabulous Coach House Coffee in Kilmacthomas. Panel discussion with Mailo Power from Monkey Cup, Jean Curran from Just Create, Sinead Queally, Virtual Vet, Conor Walsh, Encon, and Richie Walsh, Head of Enterprise. Richie, before I forget it, anybody listening to this now that's looking at starting up a small business, looking at an idea, wants some seed capital, wants to imagine themselves, they love watching The Apprentice. They love watching Mr. Sugar, huh? Is that reality, by the way?
Not all of it. No,
are you a bit of a Mr. Sugar, are you? Would you be able to say you're fired, would you?
I would say probably not.
But if anybody wants to talk, what's the first thing they need to do?
Look, the one message that I think that can come out of here tonight more than anything else, and from the other people, is you are not alone. If you like to start from there, it's almost biblical, but the simple truth of it is you are not alone, because small business, and especially in a start-off space, can be a very, very lonesome spot. And you wonder at times, are you a lunatic? Are you going mad in your own simple insanity? I was speaking to a fellow, Brendan O'Donnell from Kappa there, where I go, and I said to him, like, you probably do 100 hours a week, do you? And he said, I wish. You know, so, I mean, the dedication.
Where is he? Where is he? Where's Brendan?
He's down there somewhere.
There we are. I'll get you in a second, Brendan.
But I mean, you have to have that sense of passion, that sense of commitment to what you want to do and that thing. But it's very important to know that there are doors out there that you really need to just knock on. And you know what? We mightn't have the exact thing that you would look for or demand, but you know what? We might know someone who has, or we might have an idea of what to do. And sometimes, in an early stage business, the most important answer of the whole world is no. That it won't work, it's a wrong idea. But for every business, whether it's sort of, of the type we had here tonight, whether it's only the very smallest, come in and we'll give you a mentor. They'll work with you, they'll sit down with you, they'll think about the thing with you, and they'll streamline your thinking maybe. So listen, support, coming togetherness, and the pursuit of something that's important and valuable. I think.
Do you have to have money to start off your own business? Now the lads are laughing.
It's a good idea.
How much do you need to have?
But look, the simple way, it depends on what you want to do. I mean, if you want to develop a product for the sake of argument that's going to take significant prototyping to get there, you're going to need a lot of cash. But
tens of thousands potentially.
Yeah, but there are lots of agencies there that, at the moment, money is as cheap as it ever was. That may seem an awful lot of things. Family members are kinder than they ever were. And let's be honest, most start-up businesses, that's where the early stage finance comes from. It's brothers, sisters, mothers. And I mean, if you ask any of the lads, that's probably where their cash flow. But there's the likes of Microfinance Ireland too. The banks and the credit union are getting more into the business space. So sometimes you do need a lot of finance, but you know what? More often than not, you may develop partnerships with that. There are supporting partners out there. If you've got the good idea and the commitment, you'll get the cash.
Sinead, I saw you laughing and smiling there as Richie was talking and nodding, particularly about the hours and the loneliness and the doubts, but the passion to keep going, as the lads were saying.
I married to a very busy beef and dairy farmer, and it was kind of the inspiration, I suppose, for the business. And it's brilliant because he completely understands the business and the problem that we're trying to solve. But then the downside is you're never off duty, and so you can be talking about it at any stage of the day, and you really kind of have to train yourself to stop talking about the business every now and again. In terms of the money, I mean, it just soaks up money, every penny you have, and everybody else's pennies if they're willing to give them to you. And you know, but you have to believe in what you're doing, but you also have to, like Richie said, it's important as well, sometimes to tell a business no. It's important as well to be aware, okay, right, am I actually just throwing good money after bad, or is there actually enough hope here? You have to make that judgment call and not be blind to, if the universe is really telling you this isn't working, don't listen to the universe, you know.
Check the horoscopes on page 2 of the paper every Sunday. Jean, you're nodding there.
I agree with what Richie was saying, but a big thing for me was walking into the LEO and for them being so receptive to my idea, and because they were so receptive to my idea, that made me kind of walk out going, okay, I'm onto something. I can push forward with this. I am going to keep going with this. And like we were talking earlier on about a business plan is just something that you have to go through. It's a process you have to work through. But it does actually make you sit down and when you're putting pen to paper go, you know, is this pie in the sky or is this actually going to work? And like that, I also work with my partner. And I actually really enjoy the fact that we're kind of planning and travelling together and kind of trying to work it out together and strategizing and doing all of this. But there definitely comes a point in a day as well when you're just like, okay, enough, you know, or like, you know, it's hard to have two bosses. I'm the boss, but he's actually the boss. And so like it makes things difficult sometimes, but you just got to learn to kind of go with it, because if you let those little things start to kind of annoy you, you're only slowing down your own progress and you're only making your own day longer and harder. So there's no point in that.
Is Ireland good for doing business? Is the southeast, is Waterford a good place to do business?
Yes, very much so. We're not only operating in the southeast, but we're also operating in Ireland, and we've also we've had orders go to France, and we also have the Oxford University Museum of Science as well on board, and we've online we've actually gone to 5 different countries. So I think in many ways 2019 has been beyond our wildest expectations.
Any figures you can tell us in terms of products that are put out what is the product line at the minute in terms of quantity?
Yeah, we have 1,000 went out last week, and we have another 1,000 going out this week, which is, that creates its own challenges. But because we have, I suppose, great team that we're working with, that they have the expertise to be able to scale up. So far we've been able to maintain along with demand.
Age is not a barrier to passion or to enterprise?
No, definitely not. Many people say to me at my age, I'll be 60 in October 2020. And so they said to me, are you absolutely crazy? But one thing is starting a business, but it was actually a solution that I was trying to create. And in many ways, age is not a barrier. The barriers are what you put up yourself. One of the things that is very important to me, in many ways, I suppose we could be classed as a social entrepreneur, and that is the end result of what you're actually doing. So, for example, if you take in Ireland every day 528,000 disposable cups end up in landfill, when people become aware of that, they actually kind of think, well, what difference can I make? And I saw a great T-shirt recently. It said, it's only one cup, said 528,000 people. So if you take a monkey cup, for example, on average, it'll be used 428 times a year. So our first target was to actually try to save, theoretically, 1 million from landfill, and now we're on close to 4 million. So to us, that makes a huge difference.
Do you like Greta Thunberg?
I actually admire Greta. I was talking about her earlier. I actually heard about Greta over a year ago when she wasn't the big household name, and I actually saw a TED talk that she did, and it was actually a chap that I met, Alexander Verbeek, and he's part of the global. It's a task force for global security. And he got involved with climate action because they see climate change as a major threat to security. And he was talking about her TED Talk, and I actually watched the TED Talk. And what impressed me about was her honesty, but also the way she can articulate a story. And to me, she's to be admired.
Brendan, how's it going?
Thanks.
You're embarrassed now I've come down to you.
Thanks very much.
What do you think of what you've heard tonight?
It's very good. It's very interesting to hear, even though there's so many different businesses, so many different stories. I think we can all relate to a lot of parts of the different stories. You know, it's down to hard work, it's down to resilience, it's down to the likes of Leo helping people along. But altogether, it's very positive. I think everyone here wouldn't do anything else. I think that's a great sign of, you know, small businesses is doing okay.
And it is a good place to do business, and there's a great opportunity in the southeast and in Waterford.
I think there is. I think, you know, as with anywhere around Ireland or anywhere, you know, people are there, people are open for business. It's down to how hard you're willing to work. You know, spotting your target audience, seeing where the opportunities are, and then trying to work hard to make them come to fruition, yeah.
The customer being king, folks. Conor, you've got your customers, you've got your vision, combining that, what you want to do, and supplying what the customer wants. People talk about it all the time, the customer.
Yeah. Well, I suppose in my industry it's very important that you listen to the customer, because you find, clients want to renovate their house, they want to build onto their house, or they want a certain level of energy efficiency in the house. And a lot of the time people come in and they don't listen to what they want, and we'll go in then to actually do the work, and it's not what they had, I suppose, envisioned. So we it's very important. We're at a stage now where we're working very early on with the customer. So as soon as they're even considering the idea of renovating their house to a high level of energy efficiency, then we go in at the start. Same with our commercial clients as well. We work with at the design stage of it as well, and to give the customer what they want in the end.
The positivity that's here tonight is unreal, and there's a great buzz going on.
Absolutely, but there's a few messages coming out here. First and foremost, where we are, the building here is gorgeous. The coach house is excellent. It's alongside a greenway. That is excellent. And you know what? The pursuit of excellence is what will, in a few years' time, hopefully separate Waterford from the rest. So, and every of the businesses you're hearing tonight, they have excellent ideas. They're doing them in excellent ways, and their commitment to it is excellent. So that's certainly one. The other thing that I would say about the people here tonight is their sense of articulation, or whatever the noun is. They are so articulate. They can so sell themselves, and if businesses can't sell themselves, they will not sell to a bank manager or anything. So it is so important to be able to sell. And at the end of the day, it's that sort of coming together of all those forces and abilities, ideas and everything. And tonight, to be honest, I'm totally enthused by what I'm hearing tonight myself, because I don't hear those stories every day of the week. Some of the other staff too. I think they're great people, great sense of community about here. Yeah.
Richie Walsh, Head of Enterprise with Local Enterprise Office. Thank you very much. Happy Christmas to you and all your staff. It's been a pleasure working with you the past year. I really appreciate that. Conor Walsh, Encon, Sinead Queally, Virtual Vet, Jean Curran, Just Create, Mailo Power, Monkey Cup. Happy Christmas to all of you, all your staff, all your employees, all your families. Hope you have a safe and happy Christmas and a really prosperous New Year. Thank you everybody for coming tonight. There's a storm blowing outside. Be careful on the way home. Want to wish everybody the very best for the year ahead in business and in life, and have a great, happy and safe Christmas to you and your families. Thanks very much, Owen, for On Sound. Thanks, Judy Walsh, for helping organise this, and to Claire and all the team in WLR, and particularly everybody in sales in WLR. A special happy Christmas to them. And if it's Monday morning, then Jeff is up next. Now, thank you very much for everybody that helped make that a lovely event. Thanks to Michael for putting it together. Just to let you know that we have had a text in from somebody to say that they got a phone call and from an 051 number this morning pretending to be from Revenue, just to warn people that there's a scam going around again. Other people mentioning the lovely piece that we did with Karina Foley. Good morning, Damien. As a cousin of Karina Foley and on behalf of all the clan here in Waterford and in On Rhine, I want to say how grateful we are that Brian thankfully survived and helped others as well. A hero for sure. Catherine Foley has been in touch with me from Ring. We're also proud of Brian DePau and his mother, Karina Foley, our first cousin. She was brilliant. Her father, Tom, would be so proud. Muile buichas as an scéal úntaach seo a scapa. That's from Catherine Foley. We're going to have a lot more tomorrow on the show. Other people, just a quick mention as well to the charity Dancing Christmas Party with Muriel O'Connor, Frank Curry in the Rising Sun on the 23rd of December at 9 o'clock. In aid of the Good Shepherd Centre, helping the homeless. And somebody's been on from Tramore. Any chance anyone else is missing Christmas wreaths from their front door? Mine has vanished overnight. Is there a spate of robberies of Christmas wreaths in Tramore? Text us, let us know. We'll deal with this tomorrow. 083 333 975. And we will also deal with some breaking political news that's going to be happening in the next hour. Have a great day, folks. Talk to you tomorrow.